Happy Friday.
Yes, happy Friday.
Friday is here.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. You're on mute. You got yourself on mute. There you
I'm
go.
just
There
singing.
it is.
Yes, I saw
There
you. You was
you
just
go.
singing,
Right.
singing,
Excited.
singing,
Excited.
singing. It's
Maybe there's a
Friday.
reason why y'all didn't hear me saying
Exactly. You're on mute purposefully.
that part.
How's everybody's week?
Seems like it went by fast.
Yeah,
It was a lot. It was a lot.
it
Yeah,
was a
that
lot. Oh,
A
work
lot of
wise.
your political folks was acting up this week.
Yeah. I mean, it's gonna be a lot for a while, but I
Mm.
just say last week it felt like every day was Monday, so it was a slog. But this
wow.
week it is
Hey,
mostly
Belinda,
On
you should be
Melinda.
here. You should be here.
Hello,
Belinda, you supposed to be here.
hello.
Why? Wow. I mean, I just feel like somebody is fundraising for you all. That's just how I see it. I just
listen. I wish I let's send that out to the universe because this crazy man is crazy. So if you know folks that try to donate to the resistance,
Where do I send the check? Because,
I'm
baby.
here
You know
for
the
it.
interesting part about it, I didn't realize. Like I try to ignore a lot of that stuff, but I can't begin to tell you how many people call me that don't live in Florida and be like, "What's going on with your governor?"
Ain't none of mine, but
Right,
proceed.
and you talking to me like I'm about to speak on this man's behalf,
Say
Listen,
it ain't so.
but it just lets me know people are paying attention, though. That I think that's
listen, and I'm glad they are because like I said, like I've been saying for a couple years now, I've been auditioning to be your president for a minute. So be
well,
on the
this.
lookout, be leery, pay attention. Old boy is
Yeah.
a problem.
Yes,
Well, here's
yes.
the other part. Like we need to spend more time praying for our state, praying for our country, for our livelihoods, our children, their education.
Yes.
We spend a whole lot more time debating about this stuff versus what I hear it could be prayer. So I don't know about you.
I
I ain't
mean,
prayed so much in my life.
well, here's the thing. I am a firm believer in the power of prayer. I do, where I am challenged by, and I did a show on this. Shout out to Politics for the Culture
That's
about
right.
this
Shout out.
notion of white Christian nationalism and these folks out here, like all this stuff, if you just put in the framework of religion, everything that the governor says he's saying he's doing, to protect all, all the well-meaning, Bible thumping folks of the world,
Right.
trying to protect us from this onslaught of wokeness and all the bad things and, all these, you know, supposed demonic forces. So I'm always challenged with that, right? Like, how do we reconcile, you know, uh, whose prayers are God listening to?
That's true. But I also am of the other side of the journalist Joe Madison and Mighty Joe. The first thing he's going to ask is, "Well, what are you doing about this?"
Right.
Right? What are we? We spend a lot of time talking about this stuff, right? But this is about action, and what are we really doing to combat? I don't want to be talking about this stuff every single week. Now, sure, we have a show and a platform, but the
Yeah.
reality is that we have to put action in place. And what you do see a lot of times is even your brothers and sisters that are in other parts of the world or in churches and every other they disappear.
I hear you.
I'm just
Well,
saying.
part of why this week was interesting is we launched what we're calling Wake Up Wednesdays. Kind of in the same spirit of Moral Mondays. Shout out to Reverend Barber. out there in North Kakalaki. But Wake Up Wednesdays, we're trying to get people to get inspired, get engaged. It's not to say that you can't show up and show out any of the other 6 days of the week, but we just really want to challenge people to
love him, Belinda. I like him.
Yeah, we just want to challenge people to speak out in their own way, whatever that looks like.
Belinda said she saw the protest on Wednesday. How did that go?
Went well. We had a good turnout. It was at the Freedom Tower, right there off of Biscayne, middle of downtown. Had a lot of good press coverage. But to Roy's point, I think a lot of people, are oftentimes like looking around like, where can I go? What can I do? How do I show up? What do I need to do or what do I need to say? And what I would tell people is, manufacture that for what works for you. And so, there's enough to go around. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Like if you are mad about, most recently people are like, he's going after Black Greek organizations now, or basically, ethnic studies and gender studies at colleges. So if you're trying to organize yourself as a fraternity or sorority, are you doing a phone bank day? Like pick next Wednesday and call members of the committee where these bills are coming through.
Wait, before you move past that,
yeah,
I did hear something in regards to the Panhellenic Divine Nine.
yeah.
I didn't want to believe it. I Googled it to try to see if I could find something, and at that time I could not. So can you tell me what did he do?
So they filed the bill, HB 999. Take for that what you want, because if you flip that around, that might say something different.
Yeah.
But HB 999, which is a complete overhaul of higher education curriculum. It basically would restrict, if not prohibit, diversity, equity, inclusion, classes, curriculum. It would also limit the use of gender and ethnic studies at state universities and state colleges. And where it impacts the Divine Nine is that if fully exercised, because it basically changes the board of trustees. It shifts the presidency of these universities, and what it could ultimately end up doing is restricting any organization that has kind of an ethnic lens, and that includes Black Greek letter organizations, Latinx Greek letter organizations, Asian Greek letter organizations that exist. And so, those who kind of like, again, to Roy's point, kind of sit back and say, that's not my fight. Trust me, he's got energy for everybody, including the Divine Nine.
Yeah. I sometimes I struggle when I think about some of these things or these issues that are on the table. When I think about even sometimes the churches, right, and our counterparts, our white counterparts. And I have a handful of friends that may say something to me. I had one mother ask me, like, what do I tell my child? I'm not here to try to teach your child. You know what I mean? I'm not trying to educate your child. But the reality is, I know her intentions were well, but when these things happen, my counterparts tend to disappear. Every other organization that you can name with every other letter, they all disappear when it comes to Black and brown issues, and it just, I think that's the frustrating part. But it's very real and it's very realistic, and so and maybe I'm wrong, but I'm like, why every time I see there's a protest, it's always got to be Black and brown people? I don't see no other groups protesting.
Oh, I was getting ready to say,
well,
and what I was getting ready to say.
The white counterparts that did show up on Wednesday, there were a sprinkle of folks that, but spot on what you're saying, Roy. I mean, this wouldn't be an issue if more people would activate. Sorry,
because the change can't happen. I mean, we know the change can't happen with just us, right? You know what I'm saying? We need those allies. You know what I'm saying? And Roy, it's a very good point you make. And one morning while listening to the Ricky Smiley show, he had a white pastor on who spoke about that issue very eloquently. I hate that I don't remember his name, but you know, and it's basically the notion of if you are keeping silent, then your silence is basically agreement with the foolery that's going on. Make no mistake about it. If you're not speaking out against it, then silently you're with it.
Right.
Yeah.
You know?
And Dwight, what do you say to the people who have questions like Roy? How do they get involved? What are the different options? What are some political organizations and or nonpartisan organizations that they may be able to direct their organizations to become more organized with being able to have a say and to fight?
Well, yeah, I mean, you know, your normal cast of characters are always going to be in the mix. NAACP, ACLU, depending on, you know, your kind of issue directly. Is it FRC around returning citizens? Is it Sierra Club around the environment? So I would definitely encourage, you know, Florida Rising, where I am, is always going to be engaged along with our partners. But as I was mentioning earlier, I think a lot of people kind of get baffled in moments like these on how can I get involved. And what I would challenge folks in this moment is this stuff is like legislation. It's not law yet. Its legislation has been filed. It's being heard. And for a lot of folks, you don't know, session began on March 7th. So it just began this week. And from now until May the 5th, folks going to be in Tallahassee making all kinds of, you know, left and right decisions on how folks should show up. So all these kind of conversations are going to be brewing. And so call your representative. But first you got to know who your representative is, right? Your state rep, your state senator. Call the governor's office to express your disagreement. And also don't get, you know, as Eddie Murphy said, don't get caught with the banana in the tailpipe, right? And what I mean by that is in moments like these, too oftentimes people will be like, well, I might, you know, we might be able to agree on HB 999. Maybe that's too far, but will you support me on this other thing? And what I mean by this other thing is marginalized people who have historically been left out, whether those be individuals with disabilities, you know, ethnic groups, language groups. What ends up happening is everyone tries to find allyship and bringing in another marginalized person to be the mouthpiece against somebody else. And that's the trap that we can't fall into, especially as Black people, because what ends up happening is we get left on the sideline. Like our issues, to Roy's point, get put way, 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 way in the back. And so in our search for allyship, we need more allies that look different than us, but we also can't fall into the trap as a people of piling on to another group with the expectation that all of a sudden that's going to benefit us, because historically that ain't it. So we can't sit there and be like, well, you know, I'm gonna harp on trans people or gay people or these people because that's no. People deserve freedom. People deserve rights. People deserve to be able to live the way they choose. If you disagree with it, that is your choice. But don't make, you know, the moral decision that you may have applicable to everybody else. You know what I mean? Especially when it comes to like laws. And that's where we kind of get caught up. I brought up on the show last week around the whole trans rights piece. You actually had a person say that transgenderism needs to be eradicated. When you use that kind of language, think about what that means. When someone says that needs to be eradicated, whether you disagree with transgenderism or agree with it, the notion of an eradication of an entire human being because of how they show up.
Mm-hmm.
That should really kind of spark a light in us as Black people because we've been down that road before.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's the key word is human being, right? I
Right.
think that the problem is a lot of times folks don't want to see us or that particular group as human beings.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's where
Truly.
it gets lost.
That's true.
But here's the thing, as much as we talk about transgender and other communities and support, now don't get it twisted. Don't compare it to civil rights now. And I think that's what happens a lot of times. You want to compare that to civil rights. So I'm like, hey, let's make sure that we understand there's a difference between me hiding what you see and what you decide to do behind closed doors.
No doubt. But at the end of the day, and this is the point I just want to lift up, every other group has benefited from the civil rights movement. I just want to, that's a matter of fact, right? Like every law that we've gotten passed, when the Civil Rights Act of 1964 was passed, every other group that was being discriminated against got full access to restaurants, public facilities as a result of that, because the law was very specific that you could not discriminate, based on, race or ethnicity, right? So Mexicans that were being discriminated against at the time, Jewish folks that were being discriminated against at that time got the benefit of that law as well. So you're spot on. But what I'm saying for us is, I think sometimes we get caught up because of our own levels of access. I'm saying Black folks, 100%. Be like, hey, we got our education, we got our money, we got this, that, and the third. And then we want to start othering other people because that's something we got to get out of the habit of doing, because we can't on one hand say nobody's coming to fight our battles with us, but then jump on somebody else who's trying to fight us as well.
I mean, look, we make no excuses, right? But then also support.
Right.
Welcome, April.
AG, baby.
Hola, gang.
Hello.
Welcome to the show. We were unpacking Dwight's week and actually just kept going with it.
Interessante, Dwight.
So let's recap Saturday night. Chris Rock, Selective Outrage.
I want to hear Roy.
Yeah, y'all watched it. I still haven't done it yet. I can't do it.
You haven't watched it, Dwight?
I have no desire to watch it.
Ooh.
No, I heard a comment. I heard a comment from somebody, a dear friend. He said, cringe-worthy at best.
And that's the same thing I hered.
I might have to agree. Like he had, I don't even want to say pockets because they weren't. But there was a couple of doozies in there, and there was some stuff in there. Like you're going, like, why are you even talking about that? Like,
I mean, why are we having this long rant about this?
Like a lot of what did Meghan Markle not date you or something? Like what happened?
Yeah.
Like, Meghan Markle was 2 years ago. What are we doing? Why are you going on and on about her?
Yeah.
Sitting next to April in the living room, I turned to her and I said, I feel uncomfortable, and I'm thousands of miles away in a living room.
It's too much.
I am not even in the stadium,
right,
watching you, and I feel very uncomfortable.
Well, here's the let's start when the uncomfortable part started. I'm
right off the top.
When he
first set.
No, not the first set, the first step. First of all, you got some high heel Doc Martens on. You wearing an all white suit. You got a towel hanging out your pocket. You walk out there like you at Def Jam Comedy, like you hard. That's what you lost.
With Prince's symbol on his neck.
Yes.
TT. Yes.
What's that all about, Dwight?
Listen, like I said, I didn't watch it. I don't know.
I mean, you keep your ear to the street. I don't know. That's why I had to ask.
And he cursed throughout the whole thing as if that validated his street cred. I'm like, bro, you're a cornball, and that's okay. I like the part of you being a cornball, and now you a thug because you didn't get slapped.
I encourage someone to watch it so that they could
cringe,
form their own opinion and get their own perspective on it. I gave them the warning. I said in my opinion, it is not good. However, watch it so that you can formulate, your own opinions and see, what I was talking about. I told them, I said, I would say about 10% of it was funny.
Go home.
Nah,
I wonder if they cut stuff. If it
about 10% of it was funny.
I said
go.
80% of it was cringy, and then the other 10% was like facts.
Agree,
I said, like, when he talked about, the whole colonialism with the royal family and stuff, I was like, okay, that's factual stuff. Right. You know what I'm saying? But that's how I broke it down.
Well, the end was really good. I enjoyed the end. It was a lot in the first 50 minutes of the show that I could have done without. I could have done without. But it hit on the mark. I mean, I'm not a Chris Rock fan. I don't go to his concerts. I'm not watching his special. But I watched that because I wanted to know what his response was to Will and Jada. And I got it the last 10 minutes of the show. I could have done without the rest of it. So Dwight, watch it. Just forward to the last 10 minutes, and then
Dwight like
that. No.
So oddly enough, while y'all were watching that, I actually went to go see D. Ray Davis live because I wanted to see like an actual comedian.
Slated.
That's funny to my actual comedian.
But here's the thing.
You know what? I didn't know that he had helped so many people. This Chris Rock guy. I did not know
Chris Rock guy. Like, you don't know him. That's funny. Okay.
Well, you missed the earlier reference. I was trying to figure out.
Right.
So that was a nice way to add.
Chris Rock.
You know what it reminded me of? Because here's what I will say without trying to tear him apart. His older material was much better.
That's what Belinda said.
It was much better. But it was like, I remember one year we went to, was it Jazz in the Gardens, and Run from DMC came.
Oh gosh. Yeah.
And we used to watch this show with the family show, and they were calling him the next Bill Cosby, blah, 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 right? And it was a nice, family type show. You got a chance to see the kids. Yeah. He got up on the stage and said, listen, there's Run at home, but when I'm on stage, I'm the effing blah, blah, blah. And it was like,
everybody was like, what? Why are you even
and
doing
now, mind
that?
you have your thing on your neck too, like you and you
the pastor collar. No.
Yes.
Clergy, I mean,
and it was like, am I missing something?
But had a Adidas swimsuit on.
Right, like wait,
we were very confused. Oh, wow. We were like, all of that was not needed. All of it.
And here's the thing: Chris Rock kind of did the same thing. Like, he came out like he was hard, and every other word was a curse word.
Yeah.
And that's not why I liked Chris Rock's older material.
Mm-hmm.
Not because you're cursing.
Well, the 10 minutes with Will and Jada was good.
Yeah.
I didn't really like that because I thought it was the way
I felt like
Jada.
I felt like it was an excuse for him to, which it was. I mean, I'm not even gonna act like it wasn't. It was an excuse for him to try to get back at Will. Mm-hmm. And the only thing he could do to get back at Will was call him a bitch. And he said it about
He called both of them that. He called both of them.
About what was wrong with that, y'all? Y'all didn't want him to say it.
I mean, it wasn't funny though.
It wasn't funny. You could have had more
because he wasn't funny.
You could have made a little more jokes. Like, he had some funny jokes.
Now,
he just
without seeing it,
that part, Belinda, the 40 million,
without seeing
40 million.
What he made?
My critique is the timing of it. Right? It's like, okay, the slap happened live on stage. You knew that this comedy special was going to have to deal with that.
You're right.
But I mean, it was just like, bro, like, unnecessary. Like, how much life do you have to give this versus, to your point, Roy, the older material style, or not even material, but the style of comedy Chris Rock used to do was very much observational to a number of different things. And I think like the subject matter he was picking was too old. It was too dated. You know what I mean? Like what gives Chris Rock's material life beyond when it was there was like you can pull up his old material when he's talking about marriage or talking about Black existence, and it's timeless. This now is a dated piece of material because he decided to spend so much time in this like weird moment around the slap around Meghan Markle. Like that stuff no one's gonna care about in 3-4 years.
Right.
That might be true. But Ray, that might be the reason why he got slapped, to make him relevant.
Well, like all of this may have been a ploy to make him relevant and to make him have this deal with Netflix to do this show to try and come back in some type of way. But I almost feel like somebody made him do it. Like he really didn't want to do it because it almost was like his stuff wasn't funny enough to say he was really prepared for that.
I'm gonna tell y'all,
prepared to just make everybody laugh.
I liked it. I liked the last 10 minutes. I gotta
okay. I can give
the
you
last
the
10 minutes.
I'm saying
was
everything
really good, and he was just as corny as he normally is.
Yeah.
And the petty part in me liked the last 10 minutes. That's really what it boils down to. The petty part.
I'm gonna tell you right now.
The petty part. He could have said MFB. And I would have been like, yeah, oh, Chris. Yes.
Get him. You eating your popcorn tomorrow. Get him, Chris.
Yes, go. Because if Belinda were on, and if we went if we go the psychological route, we really can't tell him how to deal with that situation. Like no one in history has ever been slapped on live TV.
You had a year to figure out how you can
spend and that's how he wanted to. That's what I'm saying.
Funny about the whole thing.
No, you're saying he has to be funny. I'm saying he decided how he wanted to deal with that situation, and we can't tell him how he needed to deal with it.
You're exactly right.
We never dealt with that.
I didn't appreciate.
That's a fact.
I didn't like it.
Yeah, you didn't like it. Yeah.
I don't think he wrote all his jokes. They were too random. His jokes were just.
But that's what I'm saying. You had a year to prepare for whatever you were doing. You had time to prepare. It was almost like somebody said, "Go on stage." So he just started pulling stuff out the air and talking about a bunch of random stuff. You had a year to prepare for that conversation because it happened a year ago. You knew what you should have been saying and what jokes you could have had.
I feel like there's a possibility.
He wouldn't step in the ring, Ray.
A celebrity boxing match. I still feel like that.
We know Ray ain't gonna see it because they're not bringing no celebrity boxing match to no Piggly Wiggly.
It'll be on pay-per-view. Stop it. Don't do Ray like that.
Don't protect Ray
like that.
He already know when he's.
Thank you, Bobby. Thank you, Bobby. Chaka Kahn apologized. Let me tell you. She said she took the bait. She said she did not mean to cause pain or upset anyone, but she took the bait. She said, recently, I was asked about a list of the greatest singers of all time, and instead of questioning the need for such a list, I was pitted against other artists, and I took the bait. As artists, we are unfairly put into boxes, categories, or lists. Being an artist or musician is not a competition. It's a gift for which I am truly grateful. I sincerely apologize to anyone who took offense to my remarks. I need to dedicate myself to empowering others. Do y'all think she should have apologized?
I don't think she wrote that. Chaka Kahn can't remember her own lyrics.
I think Chaka Kahn was being herself when she was mad.
I agree.
And maybe they did tell her go ahead and fix it, but I don't know if I put it in the group, but it was a video of her singing in Gladys Knight.
Oh yes, you did put
somebody was on the side and
who was the one in the middle? Who was that?
That was not Eartha Kitt. What's the other lady name?
Come on, Dwight.
Diana.
Dionne Warwick?
No, it wasn't Dionne Warwick. It was a light-skinned lady. It was a big, tall, light-skinned lady.
Right?
Oh,
I thought she was white.
No, she's not white.
I feel it's Simon.
Her name is Etta
James.
Etta James. It was Etta James.
Now, Etta got smoke for everybody.
Yeah.
But that's when Chaka could sing, though, right? Chaka hollered on that video, right?
She had to pull it together. She had to
She was
holler
just
to
playing
get it back
around.
right.
She was just doing whatever at first, and then she was like, let me stop.
Because they looking at me. Let me stop.
I'm doing.
He was toe up.
But people forget Chaka was a Black Panther, man. So
Chaka was drunk.
You know, she's been centered in community and a lot of the work that she's done for years. I mean, the more recent stuff, you know, being what it is, but I think it's the duality of Chaka, right? It's like, yes, she is a singing diva, she is all those things, but at the same time, I don't think she wants to intentionally tear down other Black women.
Right. But while she was doing it, I just was like, it wasn't just Black women. It wasn't just Black women. It was period. It was artists that she felt like she could sing better than. But Bobby, can I say one more thing?
I brought it back up.
Thank you.
Into our group.
That I just enjoyed what she was saying.
Man, you seem to be enjoying everybody's
pettiness. Yes.
Hey, I'm just here for you to be able to vent yourself, vent however you need to express yourself at the moment. I'm not saying that they need to do it. I'm saying that she spoke her truth, and you could tell she was speaking her truth. Like that was her truth. That was how she felt, right or wrong. 100%. That was how she felt, and I was there for the expression. I mean, listen, there's no way that I would want to be a part of producing a show like this with 10 different opinions without wanting to hear that. Like, I like that. I love for people to express how they feel, whether I believe you, agree with you, or not. That's all.
Roy, if they ever bring the purge
into
reality, check your wife, man, because she seems like you're gonna be the dude to be like, we need to huddle in, lock the house down, be safe inside. She's gonna be like, let me just kill one person.
We don't call her Bumpy Johnson for nothing. Okay, that's Bumpy. Don't get it twisted now.
So the Mexican cartel has come and apologized.
Yeah.
For the kidnapping and the murder of the Americans in response. Now, someone brought
El Jefe.
Huh?
No, I'm about to say El Jefe said that was not his orders. And they took them people to the police with bags over their heads.
Oh, really? Is that what happened?
Oh, yeah.
They turned them in.
They had delivered
boss of their cartel said that the 5 that acted on this situation were not given instructions from him to do this. They acted on their own, and they tied them up, bagged them up, and delivered them to the Mexican popo.
To the federales.
Wow.
Now you know who really would know about this? Dana.
Oh
wow.
Yeah, but that's what happened.
Dana.
But my question is, why are you going down to Mexico to get a procedure?
Well, where did Kanye's mom go?
I don't know.
She was in one of those places, yeah.
I thought it was Colombia or
Venezuela. Yeah, a lot of them go to South America.
My dad was asking the same question, and I was like, I'm not really sure what's going on, but you have men who go, what is it? Is it India to get the hair plugs? And then there's another country for the veneers that people are going to get their teeth
People
done.
go to Mexico for that too. I know a person personally.
There's supposedly these doctors that everybody swear by in a certain place. But Ray, and here's the thing, I was thinking that it was the cost too, but then you had Now these places run specials, like it's on sale.
Yeah.
And no, I'm talking about America. And they also have payment plans.
Listen, if I gotta get on a donkey and ride 20 miles,
do you hear me? Okay, Roy,
through the wilderness to get a tummy tuck, I ain't got no business out there.
No business.
I mean,
Roy, I am with you 100%. Okay. I mean, I ain't got no business. I ain't got no.
Yeah, if we surrounded by bamboo and you got machetes and it's talking about, I ain't got no business. And I'm surrounded by 5 guys with machetes. There's a problem.
Right.
There's a problem.
Look, I thought about that. They put when they showed the men with the shotguns
or my safety. I'm gonna go safety.
Listen, let me tell you this. In 19
like outside, Roy? What it sound like outside? No.
I have no business. I have no business there.
Oh my gosh.
Ridiculous.
Listen, let me tell y'all, it reminded me, Ebony, here's another one of my stories. So I go to Mexico by myself. By myself.
That's the problem right there.
And I was like, now thinking back, 30 years later, I'm sitting here thinking, who let me do that? Like, why didn't anybody stop me? I went outside of the hotel and the men are walking around with those guns like across their bodies. And that's how
AKs.
What are they called?
AKs.
47. Okay.
Well, they're walking around like that, and that's normal. And I was really taken back by it. And I'm about to go to Mexico to get my toes.
Now he might need to go. Well, also, you be out there in the middle of nowhere. Also, your Spanish comes straight. You be talking about "Vengo tu mi casa." Your Spanish gets real straight, real quick.
Well, I thought about it just to say that we probably need to be a little more thoughtful about the places that we go.
Yes.
And I thought about it as a parent to say, the stuff I used to do in college, like we hitchhiked in New York. I mean, it was just like real wild stuff. But when I think back on it, I'm like, nobody but the blood of Jesus was on me to get me there.
Yeah, I mean that goes.
I ain't hitchhiked, but I did some crazy stuff.
Like when these kids go on spring break and stuff happens to these kids on spring break, you have like what? Yeah. You're not going to be responsible on spring break.
Like driving to another state and everybody in the car only had $20. Like,
oh boy, me and Courtney.
That's when gas prices were different too.
Oh my gosh, we drove to DC. Me and one of my other friends, Yvette, drove to DC to pick Courtney up to turn right back around to come right back to Greensboro. We stopped at a rest stop, and I swear we saw a murder scene. And we were like, what the heck? We were trying to switch drivers. We were like, what is going on? And we switched drivers in the car. I was like, oh my gosh, we do not need to be out here. It was like 3:00 in the morning. Like, we don't need to be out here doing this.
Roy and I would drive outside of Atlanta, and every time we would need to get gas at the same area. I don't know why we always needed to get gas.
You're not talking about the night you didn't pulled over and said something.
Oh, not when not when the state trooper said, just keep driving.
That's when the blood of Jesus really showed up.
Well, come on now. It's in the middle of the night and you're on a
we're in the middle of the night, in the middle of the
police have stopped. Like, they're like, you can't go anymore.
Of all people, this black woman pulls up. We're in the middle of the country. You roll down and tell my officer, which way are we going? I said, are you crazy?
Why are you telling us to get out that highway?
Listen.
Like, what is going on?
No.
He said, just keep driving.
Just keep. You know what he's about to say next.
Yeah, for you. Oh, Lord.
I said, you about to get us killed.
Congratulations, Chad.
All right, Ocho.
Yay.
Welcome to the highest of Seven
John.
Hills. Ocho
Chad
Cinco.
been trying to get a fam so bad since he left high school. You hear me?
Yeah.
Fam.
Yes.
But I think it's smart. I
Congratulations.
think it's a smart move because you see a lot of these ex-football players or NFL players going to trying to coach. And Chad, like, no, I'm about to go out there and brand this thing.
Chad
It's a
don't have
smart
enough
move.
time to be nobody coach. Chad on the move. You can't tie him down.
He's smart. He's smart.
Yeah. You
Yeah,
can't tie him down. I would be like, nah, I can help.
That's branding all day.
That was smart. That was smart. I think that was smart.
It was good.
You ready? We ready to welcome Ocho?
Well,
I
go
saw
for
that. I
it.
was like, he been trying to get there. He hype up fam at any cost, anytime he has a chance.
We'll see him in September.
I'm waiting for my story. What your name is?
Bobby. He just pulled this one up. It said Walmart is closing stores in urban areas.
Yep, because the people keep stealing.
Because y'all
want the 5-finger discount.
Well, listen, when you open a store,
all your stores in urban areas, like
no, they're not closing all their stores. They're not closing all.
When you open a store with 10,000.
Oh, you're saying, but aren't they all in urban?
Isn't that where you started? Urban. How about you just hire people and take that feature away?
How about you open up more
cash
registers?
That's what I'm saying.
Listen, but here's the thing: if you got them open, how about they work? How about the cash registers work?
You ain't
you're gonna take a hit in your revenue versus opening up a couple more lanes.
And let me tell you,
won't have to worry about that.
If I'm not in Walmart,
that'll be too much like being right.
I'm not going.
I'm not gonna cut my foot off for that. That's stupid.
7 o'clock in the morning, but don't go. Because ain't nobody got time to be standing in line for no hour to be trying to get
the line you stand in is express line, Ebony. That's the funny part.
Right.
And thank you, Bobby, because Ebony really wanted to talk about this. She really wanted to talk about Tiger Woods. He is facing is it a $30 million? Yeah, $30 million lawsuit from former girlfriend.
There's a lot to unpack.
But then she requested for the non-disclosure or whatever their agreement was.
NDA, she signed it.
That's
I want to rename Tiger. First. Can we rename Tiger Woods to 5 Below? Because that's the only kind of white woman he picks.
Oh, you better say it. Okay. Thank you for taking one of my points, Dwight. But first and foremost,
I was not ready for that, Dwight.
When Tiger learns that he is a black man, a lot of his problems
will stop.
Thank you. Okay, that's first. Second,
you have to learn like Megan had learned.
Secondly, it is very interesting to see here how this woman feels entitled to a piece of his earnings, and you are not even legally married to this man.
Right. Why can't I break up with you?
But like I said, the flip side to it is, Tiger, you brought this on yourself.
And that's what I was telling Roy. I said, you keep choosing the wrong one, buddy.
Thank you. I said, now let's analyze the last three, Jessica. Let's analyze the last three. Your wife, right? She was a mail order bride, basically. She was an au pair before you met her. She was a living nanny for other people. Yeah. She ain't had nothing.
That never goes well for anybody that marries their nanny or mess around with their nanny. Never goes well. Respect her.
Number 2, Lindsay. Lindsay was the onlyest one. When y'all parted ways, wasn't no foolery because Lindsay got her own stuff. Okay, now you drop back down to
5 Below.
To 5 Below. Okay, and now she trying to get 30 million from you, and you round here looking crazy. Don't look crazy, Tiger.
You know what?
Don't look crazy.
Listen, if Tiger Woods would just stay out of Denny's, Because he looks like as soon as he walk in at Denny's, he'd be like, "Let me get a grand slam and the waitress."
Right.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
That's the type of woman he'd be on.
Let me get them
It's
together.
crazy. It's crazy. It's
As a
crazy.
package
That's
deal.
why I
Let me get a
say
moons over
the
Miami.
moment
And
he
the lady
realizes I am a black man.
Ebony,
Like, I'm black.
I agree with you, but I'm gonna say this. In all my living,
How can she get money? I just don't understand what on
Right.
what grounds
Like,
can
what
she
the
get
he
money?
has no grounds, and she's
He's gonna settle with her.
But
He's gonna
friend,
settle.
That
He's
is
gonna
that is the
settle.
white
Well,
privilege.
I think what's gonna
That is
happen,
the
He's gonna
white
settle.
privilege.
Get rid of her.
That's
But
the
here's the
white
thing.
privilege. That's
But
all
here's
it is.
Let me
That's
meet him and let him
all
roll
it
over my
is.
toe,
Well,
But he
and I'm gonna be
don't,
mad.
you know, he
Ebony,
thinks
but listen, I want you to understand this. I've been to plenty of golf courses and hacked up the golf courses. I've been to plenty of places where there've been black folk and everything. Not now one time have I heard a black woman said Tiger Woods was cute. Okay?
Right.
Y'all don't want him.
listen.
Somebody cute to somebody.
How do you know if you don't try?
Y'all don't want him.
How do you know if you don't? Now, if you talking about,
he could pull a Russell Wilson if he wanted to.
If you talking about
Right.
me personally, no, I don't. But let me tell you the most unattractive thing about Tiger Woods. The most unattractive thing about Tiger Woods is not the fact that he might not appeal to me, to my eyes aesthetically. The most unattractive thing to me about Tiger Woods is the fact that he denies that he is black. The man don't know who he is.
He did not.
He did not. He included the Asian side. He didn't deny he was black.
Okay.
Stop it.
Okay.
Because the second he showed up on that golf course, they wouldn't let him on a golf course because of that. So he knew immediately as a child.
Okay.
Cousin, you have not replied to my text message. I asked you, did you know that sister had a brother? I did not know that sister had a brother.
Who is sister?
Sister.
See, thank you,
girl.
Michael.
I don't know what you're talking about because her brother's name is Willie Garrett. I don't know what you're talking about.
No, Mike. I saw the documentary.
Black men
Tiger been on the white women since day one.
Sister's son's name was Willie Garrett.
Sister
had a brother. His name was Mark.
Black women.
I had no idea.
What's his last name?
Wynn, her former name before she got married.
Wynn.
Exactly, Belinda.
What?
I was like, you gotta check that documentary,
Look,
Mike.
Ebony, I agree with that. But y'all still don't want him.
Hey, listen, we're getting ready to close the show. Do y'all want to keep talking about Tiger?
One girlfriend, one black girlfriend.
Do y'all want to keep talking about Tiger? Because we're getting ready to
black
close.
men that have been rejected by black women and still have. I mean, whatever.
Next.
Isaiah said, "I'm out."
Isaiah is off. Isaiah, I mean, how you gonna say the haters are making me quit? That doesn't even make sense to me.
No, what he's saying is he's not getting work. Okay.
I mean,
well, that sounds like that's the same thing that that Ebony's saying about Tiger, because clearly it's a lot of other people that's doing some hiring. Black is all over the internet and TV shows and everything. Has he tried out for any Tyler Perry movie? What about trying to do his own stuff? You know what I'm saying? Like, are you kidding me? You're quitting because somebody said they don't like you? Now you want to get me excited.
Yeah. So his whole thing came from
Grey's Anatomy.
She's gone.
When he said what he said, the problem that I had with the backlash that he got is because it was, in my mind, something that we grew up saying. It had nothing to do about your sexual orientation. It was simply something to say to someone when you're arguing.
When you are arguing.
100%.
Yes. Like that. That's just that was, I don't know how everybody else their childhood was, but I know that's the kind of stuff they said on the park. They said
I would tell you that is what is said in arguments in
100%.
Miami, Florida.
That's what I'm talking about. That's why I said I don't know how
African American men.
Yeah, Belinda, put them both in the corner.
Yeah,
well, you can throw Tiger in there. I'll let Ebony throw Tiger in there too.
Isaiah's a different cat. Like I read that statement and he was just like, I'm leaving because I'm a Frederick Douglass conservative, blah blah blah. I was just like, bro,
we're gonna miss you.
I mean, you was great in Love Jones. That's all I would say. You would shout out to you in Love Jones. You were amazing.
You stupid.
Yeah.
Leave Tiger alone.
I agree, Belinda. Thank you.
Go ahead, Ebony.
I agree. Thank you so much.
He could have done a Russell Wilson. He could have done
Tiger Woods, y'all.
No.
Last story, Bobby. You shouldn't have put that up there because there's no way we're gonna be able to unpack that in 30 seconds.
Well, no, it's been cleared up roughly. You know what I'm saying? Like,
what is this?
So Sean Kemp, who was a former NBA All-Star,
mm-hmm.
you know, one of the defining players of the 90s, got into a little shoot 'em up altercation. So it initially was reported that he has committed a drive-by, but now it's more has been unpacked. Basically, some people stole some stuff from him. He went to go get it. They started shooting at him. He shot back in self-defense. Hence why there are no charges anymore. Charges got dropped.
Oh, the charges were dropped?
Yeah.
These were random people, or
I don't know if they're random, but that was the whole thing. He had gotten stuff stolen from him. I think it was like electronics, and so he was able to like
in-house
find your iPhone type of situation. He tracked them down. They started shooting at him. He returned fire. All I know is when I turn 53, I don't ever want to be in a situation where I got to shoot somebody.
Yeah, he had
hold me accountable.
Driving his car. You hear me? John Morant was driving his car.
Right.
Oh Lord.
Oh, Raider said the baby mama stole
his stuff.
What'd you say?
In-house job. That's me.
Hey y'all, we'll see y'all at Jazz in the Gardens. We'll unpack it for you next week.
Peace.